Welcome, everyone, to episode 115 of The Fog and the Whirlwind. Very excited to be back with you. There's been a lot that's happened since the last episode. We're going to begin, as we always do, with our passage of the week, which is in Nahum chapter 1, verse 7. The Lord is good, a stronghold in the day of trouble. He knows those who take refuge in him. It's important to remember first that our God is good. He sets the standard for good and evil, and looking at him objectively, we look at how he acts, what he does, and he does everything for our good and his glory. He is also a stronghold in the day of trouble. Whenever we are facing a trial, a tribulation, something horrible is happening, even if it may not feel like he's right there, he is our stronghold in the day of trouble. And this is not a logical calculation that he engages in. It says he knows those who take refuge in him. He has a personal relationship with us. Your heavenly Father loves you so much that he made a way for you to have a relationship with him. He sent his one and only Son, Jesus Christ, here to make a way for us to have a relationship. Because our sin, was blocking. But he didn't leave us there. He didn't simply wind up our world, spin it into motion, and say, all right, I'm out. He got involved. He stepped in and made a way for us to know him. We serve a mighty God. We serve a big God. I wouldn't be able to do anything that I do without him. And I want to begin this episode, as I always do, with that passage and give glory to God for my ability to do this. I hope that everyone is doing good. I want to remind you guys to press the like button and to leave a comment. It really helps the algorithm. The first thing that I think I'm going to talk about for this episode is that there's a bunch of weird conspiracies about Charlie Kirk's widow, Erika. For those of you who have had your head under a rock, Charlie Kirk died September the 10th of 2025. He was assassinated. The gunman has been identified. He inscribed messages like, "Hey, fascist, catch," on the bullets. He was raised in a Christian household that was somewhat Republican, but then entered into a relationship with a trans person. A number of texts came out between him and his boyfriend, and it's become clear that he was radicalized. That's what the governor of Utah has said. And Kash Patel is leading an investigation into why he did what he did. And this individual is now no longer complying with authorities, is the official word. But there's a lot of very disturbing and troubling videos of Erika Kirk. And the video of her is not what's disturbing, it's the caption. People will take a regular video and either speed it up and mute it with some kind of weird music, and then caption it with her, Erika, talking on a podcast and smiling. And they'll try to put it in a context of, wow, she doesn't even care that her husband died. There's been other videos where people have tried to hyper-focus on her giving a speech and wiping her eyes and saying, look at her wiping her eyes, she's not even wiping away a tear. Trying to paint a picture that it's all a performance. That she either was in on I've seen theories as weird as, oh, she was in on it, man. She was in on her husband getting assassinated. I've seen theories like that. I've seen other theories where it just basically was stuff said by, frankly, piggish teenagers who are like, this proves that women don't give a crap about their husbands. Because she sure moved on, didn't she? And it's libelous, slanderous, because she's probably barely holding it together and moving on as well as she can. And so, what do I think about these videos that I've seen, these theories about Erika Kirk? I think it's pretty much garbage. I think it's pretty despicable, these people who are talking like this. They're clearly talking about something that they don't know anything about. whenever I look at her, the videos I've seen her give speeches, listen to her initial speech on the Charlie Kirk show. She did a live stream talking, and then also the speech she gave at the memorial service. I see a human being that is grieving so hard and doing everything she can to hold it together for herself and for her children, but also for her husband's, her now unfortunately deceased husband's legacy. She's trying to hold it together, not cry every 5 seconds, so she can conduct herself well, but also make the organization run the way that it needs to run. There's probably something inside of her head that is telling her, don't let Charlie have died in vain. And if anyone on the Kirk, in the Kirk family or working for Turning Point USA is happening to listen to this, I want to assure you that Charlie Kirk did not die in vain. And it's a very sad loss, and that there are people out here who know better, who know that Erika appearing to smile or maybe not show as much emotion now. I'm not talking about back then, I'm talking about now. We understand that you're doing the best that you can. And so these theories are odd. Unfortunately to me, a lot of these people that are making these theories probably don't work. They might go to school, they may be in their teenage years, they might be in their 20s. They're not working. And as a result, they have all this free time and they decide, well, I'm going to watch the speeches and try to zoom in on, dissect some weird part of the speech and decide, that proves that she's not actually sad about Kirk being dead, or she's moving on too quickly for my taste. And again, I'm talking as not me, but as a hypothetical person who's making these videos. And so I wanted to call that out briefly and talk about my thoughts, because I've heard a lot of very weird conspiracies about Erika not really being in grieving. And so I wanted to give my thoughts on that. Now, another thing, this is still about Charlie Kirk's death. Everyone has been talking about Candace Owens. So Candace Owens, I've only seen tiny clips of her talking about some of this controversial stuff. The only one I've seen fully was an episode of her talking about Charlie's life, and she ended up crying a little bit toward the end. And it was very sweet, very kind. She clearly misses her friend. They were very, very good friends for years. And now Candace Owens is floating a number of theories, and I don't think she's ever conclusively said this is definitely what happened. I think she's floating this theory, then this theory, then this theory, and basically just saying, what happened, guys? We are being lied to about what happened with Charlie's death. Basically, she's holding to the viewpoint that either the shooter that has been identified didn't do it, or at least he didn't do it alone. I saw one video she made. She put out a video, and in the thumbnail it said the bullet actually came from behind, which how a shooter shot into a tent at a covered up target and still managed to hit Charlie in the neck is very strange. I have heard a theory that there was some kind of a trap door in front of Charlie, and some people think that the bullet could have come up the trap door. Some people also speculate that somehow the microphone that was nearby him exploded, and that there was a gunshot, but that wasn't actually the fatal blow to him that killed him. What do I think of these theories? I confess, they don't really enter into my mind. I don't really entertain them. I think surprisingly, there's a lot that is adding up with this. I do think the shooter most likely did it. But the thing is, the only thing that makes me doubt is the precision to shoot him in the neck. I wonder about that. I know from seeing videos of people shooting at deer, you have to be very, very exact if you're going to shoot a deer in the neck. You most of the time want to go for the lung or for the heart. There are people who can get it in the neck, but you've got to be so careful. All right, now think about a human being with a more slender, thin neck and positioned completely differently than a deer is out in a field. That shot is even harder to take. So sometimes I wonder if it was professionally done, but that's just sort of an idle fantasy or just an idle thought in my head. It's not really something that I give a lot of credit to or a lot of weight to. I do believe that the shooter did it. What I do wonder though is, was there any coordination? Because the person asking the question by sheer coincidence was talking about shootings when Charlie got shot. That's very weird. That seems like a heck of a coincidence. And then secondly, right when it happened, an older guy, you probably remember the video that from right after the shooting of an older man, kind of a little bit of a beard and a hat, being led away in handcuffs. Evidently, when the gunshots rang out, he hit the ground and started yelling about having the right to remain silent and going on, just causing a commotion. I wonder if that was a distraction. If somehow he was trying to distract and allow the shooter that's now been identified to get away. Also, the FBI briefly arrested another person who ended up not being the real shooter. Was there a certain amount of coordination? And also, with this shooter, I do think the shooter did it, but did he do this on behalf of somebody? We really need to know this. This is something that Kash Patel needs to do a deep investigation on. The other thing that's very interesting to me that I want to know is who radicalized him. If he was radicalized by being online a lot, was it mainly random people on Reddit? Was it people on Reddit that seemed to be just random college students, but actually were college professors? Were they not college professors? Were they working for our government? Were there people in our government trying to radicalize this guy to go and shoot Charlie or shoot conservatives in general? I've been on the record saying I don't think that he particularly wanted to kill Charlie. I think that he probably wanted to kill just somebody, and Charlie happened to be the one coming to his area of the state. Although he had to drive a while to get there, he didn't have to drive, halfway across the country or something. So I have questions about whether something was coordinated and who radicalized him, for sure. And as I said before, I want there to be some accountability. If the Young Turks or Hassan Piker or Destiny radicalized, and I'll get to Destiny in a minute. I'll talk about who he is in a minute. But if they radicalize this guy, there needs to be investigations and possibly arrests. Now, let me go back to Candace Owens. A lot of people are very upset about the things Candace Owens has said, which what I said just now is pretty tame. She's been floating a lot of different theories. And I want to say, my rules for speaking about other people are to keep it positive. I like to draw this comparison to Thumper's dad from Bambi. What did your father say this morning, son? If you can't say nothing, what is it? If you can't say something nice, don't say nothing at all. I try to overall hold to that rule, especially with people on the right. But I will say I'm willing to speak out or attack somebody if they attack me first. And even so, I want to do it in a constructive and Christ-like way and in charitable as much as possible, but also facts-based. But also I will attack somebody if there's a lot of people that are going the wrong direction. And I don't think this is one of those times. I think that people can speculate about the exact manners of Kirk's death. As I've said, I have my questions. I have my doubts. And I don't think that Candace is over the line. Nor do I think it's proper for just a massive gnashing of teeth and yelling about how dare you question anything about his death. You need to just stay in your lane and get in line, Candace. How dare you? I don't think that's appropriate. I think that she has the right to question, and maybe in the process she'll uncover some interesting things. I listened to a debate recently that actually affected something. It made me set a rule for myself. I really don't recommend listening to the debate between Destiny, also goes by, his real name is Stephen Bonnell II, but he goes by Destiny on YouTube. He's a YouTuber and a streamer. He also used to do streams on Twitch. So he does live streams, and he's very, very liberal. Destiny and a guy named Andrew Wilson, who's from the Crucible, I think he calls himself a paleo-conservative, so more right-wing. And I have my problems with Andrew Wilson, but I'm not going to go into that. And then Anna Kasparian, who works for the Young Turks, was also on that panel. She's very progressive, although she's been questioning some things on the left lately, which is interesting to see. And then Jack Posobiec. So it was Stephen Bonnell, a.k.a. Destiny, Andrew Wilson from The Crucible, Anna Kasparian from the Young Turks, and Jack Posobiec from Human Events. They all went on Piers Morgan Uncensored, which is I guess a live show in the United Kingdom. So I can't really think of what all he does other than basically have panels of people on to talk about politics. I don't really regularly watch his show. But I saw a clip from a random clip from a YouTuber that I like. So I ended up listening to the whole discussion. And Anna Kasparian handled herself overall pretty well. There were times she got in an argument with Andrew Wilson that wasn't very good. I'll say the whole discussion is bad for hypertension. I don't really recommend you listen to it. But then when Stephen Bonnell came on the panel, all of a sudden Anna, who is very progressive, very liberal, sounded very reasonable. Destiny, or Stephen, repeatedly refused to condemn the murder of Charlie Kirk. Over and over, Piers Morgan, the host of Piers Morgan Uncensored, asked him, "Do you condemn the murder of Charlie Kirk?" And he kept saying no. Piers Morgan also pointed out that Stephen had mocked Charlie Kirk's widow. And toward the end, when Piers Morgan told Jack Posobiec, "Well, I know, Jack, you're a friend of the Kirk family. Please give them my best and tell them I'm very sorry for their loss." And you could hear Destiny snickering over it and mocking and making fun. So the other thing is, so I mentioned that the reason I even saw any of this was because a YouTuber that I watch put out a clip of this debate. He also put out another clip of Stephen talking about Corey Comparatori. If you remember, whenever Trump had his assassination attempt in Butler, Pennsylvania, a firefighter named Corey Comparatori died. And this YouTuber that I was watching put up a clip of Stephen, this liberal, talking to somebody, and when he was told that Corey Comparatori died and that he died in Pennsylvania, Stephen celebrated his death because, in his words, great, he's a swing state voter that was going to vote for Trump and he's dead now, and he celebrated it. So this actually affected my behavior. Like, it actually made me set a rule for myself. I've set a rule, and you guys can write this in red. I am not going to debate people that joke about our side dying or being hurt, or who are just otherwise garbage people. There are plenty of people. Well, let me rephrase. Sorry. There are a few people out there who don't wish us to die. Anna Kasparian and Cenk Uygur immediately condemned the killing of Charlie Kirk. They both work for the Young Turks. They both are, I know Cenk Uygur is co-owner of the Young Turks. And I would be willing to talk to them. There's other people out there who condemned the murder, and I would debate them. But people that laugh about, joke about, make fun of a grieving widow, or celebrate someone like a random firefighter in Pennsylvania, a good man who shielded the bodies of his family, a garbage human being that celebrates that, I don't want to ever talk